Today, we delve into how setbacks can lead to spectacular success stories. Discover a journey of resilience, community impact, from everyday challenges to extraordinary achievements. If you're looking to ignite your motivation and reshape your approach to business, this episode is a must listen. Stay with us.
Running a home service business is hard. So how is it that some people make it look so easy? Well, we'll tell you. This is the Freedom Blueprint Podcast. It's always good to hear the wins that successful contractors have. But have you ever thought that the best advice would be to hear about the speed bumps they encountered, the mistakes they've made along the way? We're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. We want you to be successful and avoid the mistakes others have made. Let's get this party started. Welcome to the Freedom Blueprint Podcast. Now your host, Justin Deese.
Welcome to Freedom Blueprint Podcast. Today we got a pretty cool guest, and by cool, I mean he wrote the book on cool. So we've got Brandon Brown hanging out with us today, and he is the author of the new book, Cool Success, Navigating the Highs and Lows of the HVAC Life. Brandon, I got this book a couple of weeks ago. I've gone through it. It's a great book. But welcome to the show, man.
Thank you for having me. I am blessed to be able to do podcasts and Zooms and interviews and help hopefully other small businesses grow and be successful.
Yeah, fantastic. And again, I think you did a really good job of telling your story in the book. And it's interesting because for the majority of people, they kind of have the same journey. And I think yours was a lot different, and how you went about it was different. And I can't wait to kind of get into that a little bit. But first off, what inspired you to even write a book? Because it is not, as someone who has written a book, it is a project, and it is a big project to do. So what inspired you to write the book?
It is. And honestly, I would have never, I never had any feelings of ever writing a book. I don't know why, but what had happened was, it's interesting because during COVID, I was actually on the Fox and Friends and Newsmax, a small business panel, and prices were going up, equipment was hard to find. Fox and Friends actually reached out, and I went on several interview panel on Zoom, and it was on their Saturday Fox and Friends show, and then Newsmax did a full interview, just helping businesses navigate through some of that. Well, after that, Amazon kept reaching out, like publishing, like, hey, we would like to know more about you and your story and write a book. I'm like, I hated school growing up. I hated reading. No, I'm fine. And I figured it was just scam, but they just kept on. So finally I looked into it and realized that it would be a good thing to do and to document. So I worked with them for about 16 months. Yeah, it's a big project, and put it down on paper, and here it came.
Very cool. And again, I think it's always exciting to, it's nervous, right? Aren't you nervous to put your story on paper? Because there is a little bit of vulnerability that happens, and you're like,
Yeah.
Here's my story.
Yeah, I've always grew up as an open book. My heart on my sleeve. Not afraid to tell people ups and downs of things in life and business, because hopefully people learn from it. But you don't ever tell everything. You don't ever tell everything. You forget a lot of things. But once I started writing and really realizing the things that I went through, and a lot of businesses, every small business owner goes through, that it was definitely worth putting on paper so people can read it and hopefully avoid the same mistakes, or just say be happy from no matter what you've been through in life, be proud of it and don't change it.
Yeah. Be proud of your story. I like that. That. So the story kind of talks about growing up and how your life was when you got to HVAC. Tell us a little bit about how you even ended up in the HVAC industry.
Man, that was crazy. I was in my junior year of high school, and then when you're in high school, they start asking, "What do you want to do? What do you want to do?" And oddly enough, actually, wanted to be a preacher. I grew up Baptist home, at the church 5 or 6 days a week, youth group, Awanas, and I was in a group called the Young Future Preachers group. It was 3 or 4 of us in youth group, and we would actually preach every Sunday once a quarter. They would let us come up and kind of learn. So I would preach, and I really wanted to do that. But once I really got into looking at the cost, um, of school and college, and I had three brothers and a sister and big family, and I knew I wasn't going to do that. And I also didn't like school. I was not I wanted to be hands on. I love shop class. So when I met with my guidance counselor, going into my junior year, they had just started a new dual enrollment program with our local community college, and you could do heating and air, electrical, plumbing, machine welding, EMT, hair, nursing. It was a list of stuff. And I have no idea why. I just say it was God's plan. I just said, hey, let's try heating and air. I didn't even know what a thermostat was. Let's try it and see what it. And then it's a lot of hands on. I can Google and see, but so I picked it and just loved it. Fell in love with it. So I went to college half a day, high school half a day, and when I graduated high school, I had my heating and air diploma and my high school diploma the same day.
Very cool. So did you go right from there to working in the trades?
I did. My senior year of high school, I actually got an internship with a local heat and air company here and started working where I would work when I get out of school, summer, Christmas break. So I got in the field doing that as well. And then I just stayed in the field. As soon as I graduated, I already had a job. No college debt to pay back because the county schools and this dual enrollment paid for it. It was part of my curriculum to graduate. So I just hit the ground running as I graduated full time.
Yeah, very, very cool. So one of the stories that kind of resonated with me when I was reading your book was a story about Hurricane Katrina and you coming down here to help. I'm from the Gulf Coast,
Oh,
so
nice.
hurricanes are
Yeah.
a big part of our not everyday life, but a part of our
Yeah.
life. And
That's
and
right.
obviously, growing up down here, we've seen some devastation and destruction that can
hmm
happen from them as well. But tell us a little bit about how you got involved with Hurricane Katrina, because you're in Virginia. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a long ways away. How did you get involved with that?
Well, ever since I could drive as well, I was a volunteer firefighter. I loved it. I was in a group in high school. It was called Second Brigade. Our local volunteer fire department, if there was a fire, they need help, they would actually tone the school and they'd come over intercom and say Second Brigade report, and we were able to leave class and get picked up by the fire chief in a van and taken to brush fires, hay fires, car wrecks. And it was just my second love. Other And I just loved helping people. And in this time in life, and of course I graduated in 2000. Hurricane Katrina was '05, right? '05.
Mhm.
um, I've been in heating and air for about 5 years, but I wasn't really. I loved heating and air, but I wasn't happy with where my future. I was like something. I need to do something different. If it's going to be still in heating and air, it was just I was in my time of my life. I was like, do I stay working for someone? Do I do something else? I love firefighting. It was almost not a burnout feeling, but like, is this the path I wanted to stay on? If this is the path that is for me, do I stay where I'm at? Do I do something different? And Hurricane Katrina hit, and it was such a disaster, the biggest disaster in so long. Actually, FEMA sent out to all the local, like nationwide, they sent out local volunteers like, hey, if you're interested in helping, sign up. It's a minimum 30-day trip. They pay you, they do this. You're just going to help FEMA. Um, and I said, you know what? I need a break. I just need a break. So I signed up. Didn't know if I'd get challenged. I mean, I was only like 18 years old at the time. '06. I was right at 22, 23. I was like, I don't, they're not going to pick me. So I did it. They called like, hey, we need you. So I told my boss at the time, like, look, I'm sorry. I know it's getting into summertime or whatever is going on, and we're busy, but I'm going to be gone for 30 days. Hopefully you can hold my job. And I left and went, and we actually went to Florida and around the Gulf Coast, kind of helping where tornadoes hit, getting people food and signed up for money and into shelters. And that 30-day stance turned into about 6 months. Actually, I ended up doing about 5, 6 months with FEMA.
For anybody who's never been a part of hurricane cleanup, it is almost like being in a third world country,
Yep.
except it's
Yes.
your backyard, and
Yep.
it is hot. It is not comfortable. There's no power. A lot of times cell phones don't, like, it's,
Yeah.
um, So I will say this for anybody who, such as yourself, that would volunteer and on purpose go into that environment, says a lot for you, says a lot for your character, and it says a lot for. I mean, listen, everything you've already told me so far, I already know that servant leadership is important to you, right? So all the things that you've talked about are about Brandon serving others, and I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah. I've loved it since I was able to help. Like in the church, like I said, whether it was um, in the church, volunteering, anything we could um, get that needed help, I was there and wanted to do it.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So you spent 6 months doing some hurricane cleanup. So how did we get back into the HVAC space again?
Well, I was it kind of worked out again as all right. This is what I was looking for before I left. I actually had an opportunity to stay with FEMA and leave from Hurricane Katrina and go out west to um, firefight. There was a big forest fire going on at the end of Katrina in California, Washington, across. There was a lot of fires, and they needed help with aid, with giving food and water and stuff to firemen and helping people escape. But at the time, I had just started talking to who is now my wife, Dara, at home. So it kind of pulled me to, I don't want to do this full time. I want to be home because, starting to, we're dating and I really don't want to be away from her. And so I came home and started talking. And at this time, I had been let go from the heat and air job I had. And because I had even told him when I come back, I really think I want to do it on my own. And I came back, but I had no idea what to do, where to start. I was just going to start applying for jobs again and hopefully get to that. And it literally had like $500 to my name. And I just applied for an LLC, had my license, and January 1st of 2006, I launched Brown's Heating and Air and just said, you know what, it's going to be sink or swim. And if it doesn't work, I'll always go somewhere. But I just had a feeling that's what, I was the Lord was guiding me to do. Um, I just felt at ease with it, and of course, my girlfriend, my wife, the girlfriend at the time she was pushing me like, I think you can do it. She saw it in me, and we had been only dating several months, and she had enough faith in me to go to her dad and ask for, hey, would you loan Brandon $2,500 to buy his first van? And he did. It took me a long time to pay it off because I made sure I paid it off, but he did it. He loaned it, and I just hit the ground running.
I mean, talk about faith. Your
Yeah,
girlfriend at the time is like, I know this dude, and I think he's going to be able to do this.
yeah,
That's and
yeah.
for her dad. So in my head, when I was reading that, I was picturing if my daughter came to me, if I were in that situation, I'm like, nope.
Nope, nope. Yeah, and I fully expected that, so I wasn't. I was like, yeah, whatever, I'm fine. Whatever. If he doesn't, I'll just go. But yeah, it was definitely faith led and a lot of trust.
I mean, things work out the way they're supposed to, and there's a plan. And sometimes you go, well, no, I have a different plan, and God kind of goes,
No,
okay,
yeah, yep. Not
I hear
anymore.
your plan. I'll raise you the actual plan. So
That's
that's
right.
really
That's
cool.
right. That's
That's
right.
cool. So okay, so you started out, you got this loan, and what did you do with the money?
We had there was a guy in town had an old van, and he was upgraded his. It was an old heat and air van. Um, and I went and met him, and it kind of had some parts on there and some old tools and stuff. So I told him what I was going to do, and we used that full. That 2,500 went to that van. It was fully. It had some parts, had some tools, and I just bought the van. I worked on it myself. Had to clean it up, do some maintenance on it, and um, that was my van. And I wish I had a picture of it today. I kicked myself because it was this old blue van, and on the side of it was the old little mouse from Looney Tunes. The little mouse that Rodriguez and whoever. He was on the side and he's fishing, and on the bottom of it said, "Good things come to those who wait." And that
Oh,
was on the side of my very first van, and that was just like, oh, I wish I had a picture of it. But
oh,
the
but
motor,
no,
the motor
yeah,
blew up, and I was young, didn't even think about it. I'm like, you're 20, I'm 24 years old, 2006. I didn't think about it. I didn't even think I'd be in business 20, 18. This is our, 18, 19th year. I wouldn't think I would need it that long because I didn't think I wish I'd have thought about then to have that as a before picture, a first picture.
Yeah, for sure. So, okay, so you got the loan,
Yeah.
you got the truck, and now you're living the dream. You are a new entrepreneur on your journey.
Yeah.
How long did it take you until you started to bring on other people?
It took when I first hit the ground running here. It seemed for some reason back in it was like a untouched ground. It was like if a new business started, it was like 4 or 5 heat and air companies in Central Virginia, and they had been here forever. And when you say you're going to start a business, it was almost like they were all against you. Like it was
Turf war.
it was
Yeah.
different then. It was no, they're not going to help you. They're not going to. I'd walk in supply houses and you could hear them just talking. He ain't gonna make it, and they're laughing. And he's look at this. He's 25 years old. He ain't got no clue how to run a business, and you hear that and you just get so down. But we just kept grinding. I would mow grass. I would pull up. I don't care whatever I had to do to get in the customer's house. I mowed grass. I painted walls. I cleaned gutters. I just to beg them to let me clean their heat pump. And just say, you know what, this is just going to drive me. Is no matter what they say, I'm going to be here, and I'm not going away. And and that so I just started building and building, and of course by then, of course it's 08, 09 comes around. I
Mm.
do have a couple subs. I have a guy helping me part time. I'm doing a lot of new construction. We have a big college here, Central Virginia, Liberty University. Um, and it was just housing was going. And then everybody knows in '09, 2010, the real estate market crash.
Mhm.
It hits. And all these builders I'm working for, it was 2 or 3 of them just ghosted me. Went out, bankrupted, left me with about $35,000 in open tickets at supply houses and labor to pay. And I was like, this is going to be the end. They're right. I'm not going to make it. I have no idea how to run a business. I've just spent 5 or 6 years in business, not even knowing what a P&L was, not even worried about a budget, just get whatever I could get
Getting after it.
and getting after it.
Yep.
And so I had this, and I went bank to bank, just begging for a loan. Luckily, there was a local bank that my dad dealt with for years, and he co-signed and helped me. Like, look, help Brandon out. They loaned me the 35 I needed to pay off my supply houses so I could stay open. So I had to pay that off. And at this time as well, work was really slow. I actually got hired full time as a Lynchburg firefighter. I was still firefighting, still part time volunteering. Lynchburg was hired. So, in order to get me the benefits and the constant pay while I built my heat and air up, and my wife was attending college, uh, I took the job. So from '08 or '09 to 2015, when my second son was born, I was finally at the point where I had more employees. I was able to build it over that time frame, um, and was able to make the decision then, like it's either let's stay, am I going to stay fireman with heating and air as a part-time job, or am I going back all in 2 feet and see what happens? So we made the decision in July of 15 to just go back to heating and air primary. My wife was graduating college at the time. She came on as vice president to help me as co-owner help me with finances and things that I was dumb at. She was smart at, and that been worked out perfect. She's been co-owner and vice president here, working in the office with me ever since, every day, and helped us grow. So when I left the fire department, we had about 4 employees. In 2000, about 16, 17, we had 5, 6 employees. About 200,000. About 2 million a year. Now we're about 30 employees, and over seven.
Nice. And so as you tell that story in my head, I'm thinking, whatever it takes. And I think that it's easy to say that, but it's a whole different demeanor to want something bad enough to do whatever it takes. And what you just said in the story you tell in the book, it's obvious, right? Cleaning gutters to get in the house,
Yeah,
painting, cutting grass. I mean, whatever it takes. I think that's such a good mentality and mindset in order to make it. And here's the deal: because you have that mindset, it's why you've had the success that you have. You've not allowed speed bumps to kind of disrupt what all you've got going on. And what a growth! I mean, you
yeah,
spent the first almost 10 years in your business part-time. And
Yep.
so now
Yep.
you've been the second 10 years in it full-time, maybe a little bit less than 10 years, but almost 10 years full-time. And now you've grown exponentially.
Yeah. Yep. We've been blessed. It's been mainly just because of the people I met throughout the first 10 years and kept grinding and grinding led to more people wanting to use us. And then we just developed our whole business on the base of just, we're going to provide 5-star service no matter who you are. Every customer is your mom, your grandma, whatever. And we are blessed to have a crew that stands behind that. We hire on that, our core values of we hire about on the humility, the passion, the love of customers. And now we're blessed over within the last 3 or 4 years of getting over 1,200 5-star reviews because of our dedication to them customers in the community.
Yeah, very, very good job. And so now you guys have shifted to where you also have plumbing as part
Yep.
of the business. So
Yep.
how did you end up getting into that
Yeah,
section?
yeah, about 2 years ago, I had a guy come to me that I knew had got his Mastercard, was looking to leave where he was and start a plumbing department. So we hired 2 or 3 and plumbers and just hit the ground running. Luckily, I knew more now 2 years ago than I did when I started, so I kind of knew what we need to put in place. Um, and now we've got 4 or 5 plumbers. Now I got one supervisor with 3 under him, and they're rocking and rolling every day of the week. The last 7 or 8 months, it took us. They're finally showing that they want to catch up to the heat and air side on their revenue, and their goal is to be matching it. So it's definitely coming along quick.
Nice, very cool. So what is a piece of advice for anyone listening who's still in that 1, 2 truck startup mode? They're on the smaller scale. What is some advice that you would give them? Um, Either something that happened to you that you're like, I wish I wouldn't have done that, or some advice that you have.
I always tell everybody, always be like what I said at the beginning. Be thankful of your story, your testimony of where you come from. Don't get down. You're not gonna build a success business overnight. It takes time. Unless you buy into a business already rolling or you invest in with a partner. If you're starting a business from scratch, it takes a long time to build it. And always be blessed. No matter what you go through, you're gonna get through it. But give back as well. Give back to the community that helps build your business. The customers that call you and give to you, you need to also give back. You need to always recommend and tell people, find you some nonprofits or organizations around your town. We're involved in a ton of them, and give back, whether it's time, money, whatever you can do so that you show your appreciation for your community. Because the community and small businesses is the backbone of the country. 2 years ago, I actually joined SBA. I'm on the National SBA Leadership Council now for the country. There's only about 200 of us, so we actually work with businesses nationwide on bills and stuff to help in our favor for small businesses. And we work with DC on a lot of that on both sides of the aisle. And I've been blessed to see nationwide um, what people need. So if you're a small business, you're the backbone. Not many people can do it. There's the majority of businesses owned in America are small business owners, but 80 or 90% of them people find out that it's definitely a hard job. Hardest job I think in America is to be a small business owner entrepreneur. So just knowing that up front, you're going to have years of sleepless nights. I'm in year 19 and we still have sleepless nights. So you just have to accept that your life career, but you're also helping people. You're making a difference in your community and people's lives as employees. So the rewards are greater than the downfalls in the end.
That is fantastic advice. And Brendan,
Yes.
for people that need to get a copy of this book, and by the way, if you're listening, you need to get a copy of this book. It is a really, really good book. What's the best way for people to connect with you and get a copy of the book?
Yes, it's on our website, www.brownsheatingair.com. No and, just Browns Heating Air. And then if you go to the top page, there's a book or an author section that they added about me. That'll order you straight off Amazon. But if someone's looking for a signed copy directly from me, you can email me at brownhvac @gmail.com. Just put in the subject book wanted or something, and I'll send you the info of how and that goes, and I'll mail you a signed copy. There is an audio version coming out soon, hopefully within the next 3 or 4 weeks. So those of you like me that don't like reading, like being read to going down the road, you'll be able to have an audio version. So that's coming soon.
I know that I'm like you. I'm a big Audible
Yeah.
guy. I mean, I
Yeah.
probably have hundreds of books in my Audible library. I do read books from time to time, but it's
Yeah. It's
not
a
all.
lot easier driving down the road. Just pick one
Yeah.
and listen to it and let it read to you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
A little multitasking, which
Yeah.
let's be honest, that's a skill set as a business owner you pretty much have to have at all times. So
Yeah.
Brandon, and it was so good to get to meet you, hear a little bit more about your story. For anybody listening, get a copy of the book. It's a really, really good book that tells Brandon's story. And Brandon, any last thoughts before we let everybody get back to it?
No, I appreciate you having me on. I hope anybody listening, good luck with whatever you're doing. Always do what you're passionate about. Do what you love. Life's short, so don't live it with any regrets. And people ask me all the time, what would I do different? And all the downs I've had, I would never go back and change anything about whatever happened to us and what we've gone through, because that's what's made us where we're at. So never regret it. Just keep giving 110%, and you'll come out good on the end.
Fantastic, man. We appreciate it. And thank you so much.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Thank you.
What a journey. I mean, Brandon's incredible transformation from setbacks to success, really talking about resilience and community engagement. I don't know. That was so powerful and impactful. And really, Brandon shows his servant heart by volunteering with Katrina. And then there were some other notes that I wrote about the insights into challenges of starting an HVAC business from scratch, which, as most of you listening know, that is quite the challenge without a doubt. And then one of the particular notes that I wrote on here during our conversation with Brandon was his advice for small business owners, the importance of persistence and resiliency and giving back to the community. It just, all of that was really so inspiring. His story is fantastic. And, I know we talked about this, but make sure you get a copy of the book. It's a fantastic book. It's a great read, and it's very inspiring, and definitely go check it out. Listen, if you found value in today's episode, make sure to subscribe to the podcast. Leave a review. That's so important, so helpful. Leave a review and share with your fellow leaders who could benefit from mastering resilience. Until then, keep setting those resilience goals and watching your business and leadership transform. This is Justin Deese signing off from the Freedom Blueprint podcast. Stay motivated, stay resilient, and as always, keep crushing it.
You've been listening to the Freedom Blueprint podcast. Information is useless if not applied. So take what you've learned and go and implement it. We hope you've enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review. We'll be back soon. But in the meantime, find us on social media at Freedom Blueprint for Home Services and hit the website at www.freedomblueprintpodcast.com. See you next time.